SEC Kids.
Hi, Fiona.
Oh, hey, Hannah. What's with the cast?
Well, I sprained my ankle.
Ooh, how'd you sprain it?
Well, I fell out of a tree.
How did you fall out of a tree?
Well, the branch that I mostly put my leg on wasn't there, and let's just say the rest did not go very well.
Well, God can fix what's broken. We're going to learn about that in our story of Adam and Eve today. Want to go watch the video with me?
Yeah, sure, let's go.
This is Callie, and this is... No, I have to do it again. I'm Callie Ferguson. Oh, it sounds like Bergerson. Who says their last name anyway? I'm Callie, and this is my first ever crazy vlog. A little about me. I'm 7 years old. A whole 7. Not like 6 going on 7. You know what? Let's do this another way. This is my room, guys, and this is my pet. Say hi. He doesn't say much. He's super shy. But you won't believe what my dad got me. I've waited forever for this, and it's finally here. Ah! Wait, what is this? Is this a joke? This can't be what I've waited like forever to get. Who is calling me now? Now is not the right time. It's my friend.
Hey, Callie. What are you up to today?
Hey, Dan, where are you? Dan is the coolest friend you'll see.
Me? Oh, I'm just at the beach. I don't want to brag or anything, but I'm kind of at the beach. What are you up to?
I started my most awesome vlog, but I had a little bump because what I was waiting for was broken.
Well, your story reminds me of a lot of a Bible story that I heard in the Bible. It's time for our Bible story. After God made the heavens and the earth, and plants and all of the animals and the light and everything we see, God made something amazing on the 6th day.
What's that?
God made humans.
Like you and me?
Yes, human beings. God made human beings to rule over the earth and sea and birds and all of the animals.
Even the insects on the ground?
For sure, even the insects on the ground. God created human beings in His own image. God created human beings, girls and boys both, to be a reflection of all the things God is made of.
But why don't we all look the same?
Because we all reflect a different part of God in our hearts and in our minds, in our bodies too. Every person that is here is made in God's image, and God told them to create more beautiful children just like God had created them. And they were to take care of the creation all around them, all of the wildlife and animals and even each other.
Amazing!
God also made sure everyone had food to eat, using the plants that have seeds and the fruit trees.
Like bananas and mangoes?
Exactly. But it didn't stop there. Although everything seemed extremely wonderful in the garden, there was one important thing that God told human beings not to do. God told Adam and Eve not to eat one kind of fruit on one super off-the-limits tree.
That seems simple enough.
You think so, but there was a serpent there that was an enemy against all of the good things God had made. The serpent was a clever animal, and though human beings could do everything but this one thing, the serpent caused the woman to wonder why and question what God really meant.
Oh no!
The serpent asked Eve, "Did God really say that?"
God did say it, right?
God sure did, but the serpent tricked her and made her think it was okay to do what God didn't want them to do. Now Eve was confused by what the serpent said, and she ate the fruit from the tree that was off limits. She then gave some to her husband, Adam. When the evening came and God came to visit them, they hid because they were afraid. God spoke to them and they came out and told him what they had done and how the serpent tricked them. God, of course, was very disappointed and made the serpent to now be worse than all of the animals ever created. The serpent now will crawl on its belly in the dust forever. humans now would have to work for their food and feel pain in ways that they hadn't felt before. God made a perfect world that became broken, but it's like God said, I got this, and started to put all the pieces that were broken back together again. So I have a suggestion. Why don't you put all the pieces back together and put them in the box and send it back to where it came from, and they'll ship it back to you as good as new. All right? Try it.
I never thought about that. Maybe I could have my mom send it for me tomorrow. Later, Dan. Catch you next time. And what is this? A comment? This is a comment from Mary. Can God really fix everything that is broken? Well, in the Bible, He promised He would. I'm pretty sure He can. My mom says to pray about everything. And since God is loving and cares about us, He can take care of us too. I have to run, besties, but catch you next time.
Hi guys, it's Nicholas, and today I'm going to be reading a few Bible passages with you guys from Genesis. So we're going to start at the beginning and cover the story of creation and the fall, basically. So for that, any of you who want to follow along, this will be starting at Genesis chapter 1, verses 26 through 30, and I'll give you guys the other passages in a second. So, starting off, then God said, "Let us make mankind in our image, in our likeness, so that they may rule over the fish in the sea and the birds in the sky, over the livestock and the wild animals, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created mankind in His own image. In the image of God He created them. Male and female He created them. God blessed them and said to them, "Be fruitful and increase in number. Fill the earth and subdue it. Rule over the fish in the sea, and the birds in the sky, and every living creature that moves on the ground." Then God said, "I give you every seed-bearing plant on the face of the whole earth, and every tree that has fruit with seed in it. They will be yours for food. And to the beasts of the earth, and the birds in the sky, and all the creatures that move along the ground, everything that has the breath of life in it, I give every green plant for food." And it was so. So, cool passage about basically people's place in the universe and what God did. So, something just to think about is like, what are some things that God did provide for the first people, and what was God's place for them? And you guys can think about that for a second while I let you guys who are following around know the next passage. It'll be chapter 3, verses 1 through 15. And then I'll just give you guys my thoughts on this passage. So, God had created people to rule over the earth, basically. He said that they were in charge of the fish in the sea, the birds in the sky, the livestock, and the wild animals. And He also gave them permission to just eat all the fruit, basically. So God had created mankind to basically rule over this new world that He just created, which I think is pretty cool. But as we're going to see, people managed to screw it up some. So that's where we're going to be going next. Chapter 3, verses 1 through 15. Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. He said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden, but God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden, and you must not touch it, or you will die." "You will certainly not die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat from it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good from evil." When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food, and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband, who was with her, and he ate it. She also gave some, and then they realized, then both of their eyes were opened. I'm struggling, guys. And they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. Then the man and his wife heard the sound of the Lord God as He was walking in the garden in the cool of the day, and they hid from the Lord God among the trees in the garden. But the Lord God called to the man, "Where are you?" He answered, "I heard you in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." And He said, "Who told you that you were naked? Have you eaten from the tree I commanded you not to eat from?" And side note, guys, that is the one thing that God said they couldn't eat from, was this one specific tree. The man said, "The woman put you here with me. She gave me some fruit from the tree, and I ate it." Then the Lord God said to the woman, "What is this you have done?" The woman said, "The serpent deceived me, and I ate." So the Lord God said to the serpent, "Because you have done this, cursed are you above all livestock and all wild animals. You will crawl on your belly, and you will eat dust all the days of your life. And I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between your offspring and hers. He will crush your head, and you will strike his heel." So there's that section. We're going to be jumping ahead to verse 21 in a second here, but first, I just want to say that this really does show that people had messed up at this ruling earth thing. God had given them one command of what not to do, was eating from this tree, and they did that. And I think it's important to note that they just decided to do what was right in their eyes instead of what God said was right, because it said, "When the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food and pleasing to the eye and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took it and ate it." And basically just decided, what I think is right is more important than what God thinks is right, and she ate the fruit. So then moving on to the last couple verses here, verses 21 through 23. The Lord God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. And the Lord God said, "The man has now become like one of us, knowing good and evil. He must not be allowed to reach out his hand and take from the tree of life, and eat and live forever." So the Lord God banished him from the Garden of Eden to work the ground from which he had been taken. So this shows basically how the world fell apart, is instead of this perfect plan where God had man ruling the world, people screwed up and did what they thought was right, and now there's a curse on the serpent, and the world screwed up and they're kicked out of the garden. And even in that, God does show them mercy. He gives them clothes and makes sure that they don't eat from the other tree that would basically just make a cursed life live forever, which would really suck. So yeah, there was that section. And just to demonstrate what's going on here, I have a piece of paper. It is a nice clean piece of paper, but it's whole and kind of perfect for a piece of paper. And I'm going to use that to represent the world. And basically, when people started doing what they thought was right instead of what God said was right, it acted like a tear and tore the world. And people continue to that every day, doing what they think is right instead of what God is right. And that sin, that doing the wrong thing, that just makes more and more tears. So that's not a very nice thing to think about, is the world is broken and not how, not the perfect way that it's supposed to be. But it's important to remember that God has tape. Here, I got some tape too. You guys got a close-up of my face there. So God is the best ever at putting things back together. I'm gonna give it my shot here. Not as good as God at putting things together, unfortunately, so this may be a little rough. But yeah, it's one piece of paper again. Looks rough. God's better at it than I am. But it's put back together, and God's already started his plan of putting back the world back together with Jesus, and in the end, he's going to make it just how it was supposed to be. So, cool stuff to think about. Bye, y'all.
Fiona, look! I don't have my cast anymore!
Yeah, you don't. See, God can really fix what's broken.
Just like the video we watched.
Yup. See you next week.
Bye!